name is Shira Abel. I'm the head of Hunter & Bard. It's a relationship marketing agency, and we specialize in building the relationship with the customer. We do that a lot through content and social. I need to slow down. Okay, so I have an MBA from Kellogg. I've been in Israel for 14 years now, and I fell into internet marketing around 13 years ago. Been in it ever since. I'm a marketing blogger and a Twitter fiend. I think I've got over 40,000 tweets. That's kind of wrong, but not as bad as Hillel. Okay, so social marketing. Social marketing is not new. The idea of it is not new. How we market through social, and I'm going to say this now, how we market through social is completely different than how you market through SEO. When you market through SEO, you're thinking about the keywords, you're thinking about gaming the system, and you're not necessarily thinking always about the relationship with the person on the other side. Social is 100% about the person on the other side. It is not about gaming anything. It is organic, it is slow, and it reaps huge rewards when you actually do it properly. It's word-of-mouth marketing, and word-of-mouth marketing is old. Word-of-mouth marketing comes from the days when, there was one shop in the town, and suddenly there was another shop, and people sat around and said, hey, what do you think of this place as opposed to the other one? Okay, so people like to share, and as you can see, people share after a campaign, after a social media campaign where they feel connected to the brand. They will share more even up to a year later. Same thing with loyalty, okay? Your intent to buy is higher once you actually have a relationship with the brand. The important thing whenever you're doing social, the important thing is to make sure that everything you're doing is for a goal. You don't just do likes for the sake of likes. You don't do Twitter for the sake of Twitter. You are doing it to a funnel, and you have to figure out what that goal is. Is your goal to lower risk? Is your goal to build a brand name? Is your goal to have sales? What is your goal? You have to actually connect it to a goal. And then every decision that you make, every action that you take is aiming towards that goal. So all of your tactics will be aimed towards the goal that you actually have in mind. This is not something that you do just stam, okay? This is something that you do with an intent. And it works. Different platforms, different results. Different reasons for being on them. Twitter. So if you're going to relate Twitter to SERPs, you can't, because it's almost non-existent. That's not the point of Twitter anymore. Twitter doesn't show up on, it barely shows up on Bing. It does not show up on Google. If you look on Twitter's own search, it's like the worst thing you've ever seen. So that's not what Twitter is for. Twitter is for engagement. You want to look for things later. God willing, someday they'll actually build something that'll work for it. But in the meantime, that doesn't mean don't be on there. You want to connect with your customers. That's where your customers are. That's where you go to connect. Or media influencers, or the PR people that you're looking for. There's a lot of people on Twitter. It's used daily. It's a place where a lot of companies need to be. Facebook. Facebook is connected to Bing, not as much to Google. EdgeRank is the Facebook algorithm, so you want to make sure that when you post content on your page, that the content is optimized for EdgeRank. EdgeRank takes pictures, and then video, and then text. So you want to make sure that you have a good mix of all of these things. It's also very important that you see what type of content your audience likes. And please, for God's sake, do not do a campaign of like me for an iPad, because it will not get you the people you are looking for. You will get people who will hide. I actually did a blog post on this past week. You will get people who will hide your page from their wall. Your EdgeRank will tank. And then nobody, not even the people who want to see you, will, because Facebook will think that your content has absolutely no value. You now have no choice to be on Google Plus or not, because if you want to show up in Google Search, the best way to show up in Google Search, thanks to Search Plus Your World, is Google Plus. So you will have a Google Plus page, and you will post onto your Google Plus page, and you will grow that page slowly and organically, because nobody's really going on to Google Plus for the pages. They're more going on for the individual interactions with other influencers. But that will slowly grow, and as people start to be on there more often, they'll start to follow more pages. It's not built the same way that Facebook is, so it's not as integrated into the platform. I think that will change as Google Plus evolves, but I'm not going to go into the whole right and wrong of it, because Miriam will later, and I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, and the mighty Google spoketh. You've got the +1. You cannot forget the +1, because with this +1 that shows Google, along with Google+, just how important or relevant, and relevancy is critical here, how relevant your content is to your audience. And they will learn who your audience is, and they will target the right people for you. So through social search, when somebody who is the right audience looks for your subject, they'll find you. So it's important to make sure that, you get those +1s. Push it. Push it on your site, push it on your blog, push it where you can. And don't forget YouTube. YouTube is the #2 search engine, and yet it never gets mentioned. Video is a really, really powerful medium to connect with people. And it's really easy to SEO. You could read Real SEO. That's a blog that I highly recommend if you're interested. And it's easy to SEO. It's not so difficult to do. It doesn't have to be the most amazing, professionally done video. It can be simply really, really informative. And people react to it. They like to have the human connection. And as you can see, these are different lifetime post values for the different platforms. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and YouTube has actually the longest long tail for connecting because of the search. Once it's there, it's there. It's there always. And if you handle it properly and it's relevant content, you will be found, even well after the time you actually posted it. People are sharing. They're sharing all over the place. You've got Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Quora, Google, so many, and there's more growing all the time. You've got Pat. There's a niche now growing for almost every field, especially for B2C. Look for it, find it, own it. Own the one that works for you. For one of our clients, we thought LinkedIn would be the one. Turned out it wasn't. Quora was the one that worked better, so we put our time into Quora. You put your time in where it works. So, as I said before, your process of engagement, this is critical. What's your goal? What's your goal? Figure out what your goal is. Where does your customer live? Okay? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Quora? Are they on message boards? Maybe they're not on any of those. You want to go where your customer actually lives. What are they interested in? Give them content of value. Understand them. Get to know them. Ask them questions. What do you want to know? I want to answer your questions. I want to help you. What is it that you need from me? And then give it. Discovery and retention. Now, a lot of the time, it takes quite a few mentions of a brand name before you get to the point where you're comfortable enough to actually approach the brand. This is for the typical person, not the early adopter. So once you've actually heard the name a few times, maybe you've heard it a few times through Google+, through Twitter or Facebook, okay? It'll take those few mentions. Then one day you realize you've got a need, okay? Then you end up seeing it again, then you end up going through into the conversion and the retention. Once you've got the retention, that's where content comes in. Content greets you, it's the smile and the warm handshake that greets you at the website, with the blog, with the updated content, because if you don't have that, then you're giving people no reason to come back. And without a reason to come back, you will lose that mind share, and you will not build any reciprocity. And it's got to be content that's relevant and good and well written and professionally done. When you have to buy their love, you've lost. So if you have to pay somebody to go to your website, you're doing something wrong, okay? I'm not saying don't buy ads. Ads are fine, because people are going to click on an ad is relevant. But don't, you have to give multiple discounts all of the time. That's never going to stop. That's not a value method, okay? You need to figure out a way to bring value to pull people in. Have a heart. Show you care. Okay, takeaways. Giving trust. You need to build the trust, okay? And by building the trust, you build the loyalty. And people would rather work with a company and purchase from a company where they feel comfortable with the people inside. Using social as a push media, just pushing out messages and having no interaction, won't get you the same results. You'll get so much more when you actually start to converse with people. And, Google owns you. Get used to it.